Minister, thanks for being here, and it's interesting. It's kind of strange, the word Brexit now, B-R-E-X-I-D. We're used to C-O-V-I-D. We had a dose of Brexit for God knows how long, and we were Brexit for breakfast, dinner and supper, but now it's COVID. So I'm glad to get the chance to inquire of you as to what actions are going on behind the scene, and what support we're getting from our so-called friends in Europe. We had the backstop, which was made a big play of back, probably 2 years ago now, or more, by the Taoiseach at the time. So what is really happening? Because farmers, business people, shopkeepers, you name it, they've all been, hugely affected by the COVID situation. And now, this is simmering away all the time underneath the surface. It's like you turn the kettle down low on the gas, but you don't turn it off. So it's going to be reignited, and it's going to have huge impacts on all the economy, especially agriculture and our exports. And I'd like to ask you a number of questions, if you would mind, please. What engagement you have had with the farming organisations, in the south, definitely, and if you had any in the north of Ireland, and if you had any with the new independent farmers organisation, because they seem to be the people who really want to represent the farmers. Some of the other organisations, quite frankly, are a bit too close to government. They've got that way for a number of years. Same with many of the trade unions, and it's a big merry-go-round. And the people that are meant to represent aren't represented at all. And if you had any engagement with the farming organisations, or indeed the trade organisations in Northern Ireland, what engagement you've had with the Road Hauliers Association and the Irish IHRD, they are a very important part of our infrastructure to move our goods, from Ireland all over the world, literally. And you mentioned ports, or the last speaker mentioned ports. It's very important that our ports are ready. And we have a situation in my area, and it mightn't be, you tell me it's not your area, but we have the whole N24 project, which has been shelved from Limerick to Waterford. And that's vital for a number of reasons. And one is the connectivity from Fynes Port in Limerick to Rosslea Harbour. That's a hugely important piece of infrastructure, and will be never more important when Brexit comes in. So, Minister, I'd appreciate if you could answer those questions with what engagement and what preparation and what funding and what support we're getting from Europe to beef up the situation there. And also, Deputy Berry mentioned, and we know that for a long time here. You might say it's not your area, it's Minister Keogh's, but the army has been totally, literally abandoned. And the Navy, as he's rightly pointed out there, and we might have vessels and we'll have no one to operate them, and it's a shocking situation regarding our fisheries, our defences for our national sovereignty. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy. As has been outlined, I think, by many people today, there are a number of sectors that are most likely and will be hardest hit by Brexit, and who are already feeling the implications of Brexit and the uncertainty that surrounds it. And of course, the farming community is probably the most likely to be hardest hit, particularly if we have a no-trade deal, particularly if we see the imposition of tariffs and so much, I suppose, more in terms of additional costs and challenges in trade with the UK. Acknowledging that throughout this entire process, we have tried to ensure that we have engaged with all of the farming representative groups and the fisheries groups to make sure that not just they understand the work that we are doing, but that we are taking the information back from them so that the measures that we are putting in place, whether it's through the departments, whether it's in terms of putting supports in place, whether it's in terms of our ask at a European level, that we're getting that information right. So there is a constant two-way flow of information and engagement, and we will continue that throughout this process and I suppose until the end of the year and well into next year and beyond. We did, of course, and have put significant financial supports in place already through the Department of Agriculture over the last 3 budgets, and that was acknowledging the fact that farmers, in particular our beef farmers, are already being hit hard. We will continue in that vein, but obviously it's for a new government and a new budget this year to provide further assistance. One thing that I have consistently done at a European level, every opportunity at the General Affairs Council, in particular when we're discussing the next European budget, is raise the need and the significance of the Common Agricultural Policy to be maintained at current levels. what's very positive and I think very welcome is that in the new MFF, the €1.1 trillion and the Next Generation Fund, there has been an additional €15 billion allocated to Pillar 2 of the Common Agricultural Policy, and we're still obviously examining what that means for us, but there's constant engagement, very conscious that our farmers will need additional support, and we will absolutely provide that for them.